Today we're going to be talking about aspect ratios. If you don't know what an aspect ratio is, that's fine. Neither do I. So we're both going to be learning at the exact same time. Should be fun. Alright, all jokes aside, aspect ratios are basically the width and height of your video. Now, not by pixels, but just by like the physical size. It's kind of weird to explain. This probably isn't the best way to explain this, so someone please call me out in the comments below that I am totally offbeat with this explanation. But here's an example just to kind of help you out if this doesn't make any sense to you. So here is an aspect ratio, also known as letterboxing, and it's 2.40, and then this is 2.35, this is 1.85, this is just the standard 16 by 9, and this is 4 by 3. So if you still don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm sorry, quit watching this video, because if you don't know what those illustrations really were, if you still are not grasping this, then you might want to go look it up on Wikipedia and read about that first. So anyways, we are going to dive in today on this special episode of YouthFilmmaker.com tutorial series all about aspect ratios. Everything that I basically know about aspect ratios. I'm not going to tell you though how they originated, because honestly I don't. I only know like how one of them originated, and really we don't really need to know who came up with them necessarily. We just need to know what they are, how they work, what difference does it make to have a different aspect ratio, and how can this differentiate the mood of my film. Basically, an aspect ratio is more commonly known today as letterboxing. Letterboxing is basically just the cheesy way of taking a 16 by 9 1080p clip from your camera, put it in your editor, and slap on a letterbox. It's just the two boxes on the one on the top, one on the bottom, and it gives it a cinematic feel. Now, I don't always recommend letterboxing because sometimes it just doesn't fit with the mood of your film. Like, in some of your footage might not work out. So before you even start shooting, if you know that you want to shoot in this certain aspect ratio, or you want the final output to be in this aspect ratio, the best thing to do is, if you have a Canon DSLR, check to see if you can download Magic Lantern. I'm not going to explain really a whole lot of Magic Lantern and what it is, because there are literally hundreds, maybe thousands of videos on what Magic Lantern is. Essentially though, in a nutshell, it's a hack that can brick your camera if you download it and install it the wrong way. If you install it the right way and follow their instructions carefully, you will have no problem, your camera will not brick, and it will unlock so many features for your Canon DSLR. Like I said, it can brick your camera, but they have a stable release, but it can still brick it, like I said, if you install it wrong. So anyways, back to aspect ratios. If you get Magic Lantern, you can turn it on, hitting the trash can button, turn global draw on, all modes, all this stuff, and you go to crop mark, select that, and then you go through them all and go to sign scope, and you'll see it'll put letterboxing on your footage. It'll overlay it when you're recording real time. So that way you can adjust your angles while you're shooting. So that way, when you get into your editor and you slap on a letterbox, or you put it in a certain resolution that crops it off on the top and bottom, you're not like left with all this weird like hacking off someone's head, because the framing is incorrect basically when you don't have your letterboxes on your screen. Now, some people will just put duct tape, like physically put it over their LCD screen, but I find that the Magic Lantern way is a lot better, and it's slightly more compressed than what I normally would do. I mean, ever so slightly. If you want to learn more about aspect ratios and how to do it in your editor, there's a plethora of videos out on the interwebs that will teach you everything. Now let's get down to what aspect ratio changes the mood to your film. All aspect ratios give your film a different feel. So just remember, when you're going for a certain look in your film, try to do some studying beforehand, before you actually go out and shoot. Maybe shoot some tests. Shoot some standard 16 by 9 footage. Drag and drop if you have overlay presets that you can put in your editor. Try out some different, aspect ratios. If you don't like the aspect ratio look at 1920 by 812, there is an awesome pack of overlays. It's down here below, the link to the website, the page, everything. You'll find it. It's a zip file. You download it, and it is just a big folder with a bunch of aspect ratio overlays that you can overlay on your video if you don't like doing the 1920 by 812. So there you go. Other than that, I'll see you guys next week on youthfilmmaker.com. There's a green screen behind me. There's a mic right here. I'm actually full-blown Mexican, if you don't know.